Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, here in Southern California. Check out that gorgeous sunrise, and the surf is very, very active today. I see the pelicans picking bait out of the surf. That's a good signal. Hey, there is so much going on. The Bart Hall Show opening up at the Long Beach Convention Center Thursday through Sunday. We'll see you there. A 4.5-hour battle with a mammoth bluefin tuna for a pangero out of San Quintin. We'll have all the details on that. We'll cover all of Baja. We'll cover what's going on here in Southern California, the long-range situation, and so much more. I'll get set up for the morning briefing. It's coming at you next.
Before we get started on today's morning briefing, don't forget, if you're headed to Ensenada, you're going to want to give Zeke Casas a call. Only 15 minutes from downtown, but just check out that spectacular view while in Ensenada, Baja, California Norte. And if that garage door is giving you a problem, then you're going to want to call your garage door man. That's Joe Welker. Tax problems? Nobody better than our friend Tim Marquez. Tim's been doing taxes for 35 years. Give the tax man a call today. And for your heating and or air conditioning needs, you're going to want to talk to our dear friend John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning.
What a beautiful morning. Thank you so much for being here. If you don't mind, hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. Make sure you subscribe to the Freedman Adventures YouTube channel and tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. You can also follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and of course on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. What a beautiful morning, man. The pelicans are tearing it up down here. They're all over the surf again as the surf is very, very active. Of course, we got a lot to cover with you all. The Hall Show, as I mentioned, opening up tomorrow at the Long Beach Convention Center. We will see you all there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we have our surf fishing event coming up on Super Bowl Sunday. There's plenty of time to watch the game. Our event is from 6:30 to 9:30 in the morning. We're going to surf fish here, bring a chair down, some coffee, some donuts, a piece of prime rib for those of us who are on the carnivore diet to nibble on. Whatever it is you want to do, come on down, and we'll have a nice, beautiful gathering before the Super Bowl, and we'll be all finished up about 6 hours before kickoff. All right, let's get into it because there is a lot to get into. Hey, wait a minute. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, my God. What a gorgeous day. Beautiful. And the pelicans, as I say, are absolutely tearing it up down the street from me here as there has been some really excellent fishing. All right, let's jump into the long-range situation. We'll start there this morning because there's been phenomenal yellowfin tuna fishing going on for the boats that are down in the 16-day range. Remember, during this time of the year, this is when boats leave San Diego and go south, 16-day trips. They travel for about 3 days to cover about 1,000 miles in most cases. Hurricane Bank, I think, is 960 miles from Point Loma, something like that. And then they get down into those pristine Baja, just prolific fishing zones. And it can be absolutely phenomenal. And it has been really, really good. However, no matter where you fish around this big, beautiful world, there are down days. And it sounded like it was a little down on the yellowfin tuna after a wide open, marvelous day. The Independence got down there a couple of days ago, and it was wide open. Great yellowfin tuna fishing from the morning until the sun set. Same thing for the XL. Same thing for the rest of the boys who've been down there like the Royal Polaris. But yesterday, those yellowfin tuna, man, I'll tell you, they just got off the bite. It was still pretty good, but it was nowhere near as good as it has been. So we're hoping that this morning that turns on for the boys. They still scratched out down there on both boats and all the boats down there. Some pretty good yellowfin tuna. And most of that fish is in the, well, most of it's over 100 pounds. Let's put it that way. But there's fish that range from 80 to 200 plus pounds. Great long range fishing, a little bit of a dip yesterday. There was some wahoo and have been a lot of wahoo taken. I think the Royal Polaris on their current trip has 100 plus wahoo. So there's some good who fishing. The skins are biting pretty darn well down there in that neck of the woods. Absolutely beautiful and gorgeous morning here in SoCal as the tide rolls up on us here in Surfside, California. So some good long range stuff going on. There is still some bluefin and some yellowfin tuna at 300 miles, but most of the boats I say are on those long trips right now, and they straight line right past there. We'll have some information on bluefin out of San Quintin, Ensenada, and several other areas in just a moment longer. Long range fishing, pretty darn good right now. We'll be watching it all day long for you. All right, let's get to the Mexican mainland. Cabo San Lucas, still a little bit of stripers down there, some striped marlin hanging out. Every once in a while you'll catch one. There's been some windy weather down there. It's been a little bit rough, and that has made things much more difficult here recently, but hopefully that's going to calm down. There's still quite a bit of yellowfin tuna down there, and while most of it is 15 to 30 pounds, you find that yellowfin about 20 miles offshore. There's a little bit warmer water out there. You encounter those dolphin pods out there mixed with those dolphin are those yellowfin tuna. When you get out there in that neck of the woods, you're going to find mostly 15 to 30 pound fish, but there are regularly fish that exceed or are right there at 100 pounds. Mulaje, Loreto, really good yellowtail fishing going on there. It can't get much better than it is. It's a great time of the year to be fishing those forkies down there in that area. And man, I'll tell you, that bite has been spectacular, really, really good. Let's get to San Quintin, Baja, California. That is only 140 miles down below the border. So from Tijuana, you drive 140 miles, and that's where you're going to find some really excellent fishing. And they have been picking off bluefin tuna down there in San Quintin. Jose Duarte yesterday, he runs an operation down there. Jose Duarte, if you Google that, you can find him and fish with him. He got mixed up in a 4.5 hour battle yesterday. A really awesome battle. And that fish, that bluefin that Jose caught yesterday, weighing in at over 200 pounds. There's been some big bluefin caught down there recently. Can-Am Sport Fishing had a fish the other day that exceeded 150. And now this beautiful fish for Jose and his great crew exceeding 200 pounds. Of course, there's some pretty good yellowtail fishing down there at times in San Quintin on the yo-yo iron. That's been pretty darn good also. And we continue to see some pretty darn good, or I should say exceptional, rock fishing with lings and vermilions. It has been spectacular. Way to go, Jose. Felicidades, mi hermano. What a great captura. What a great catch. That is really fantastic. So, big bluefin tuna. Now, just to mention it to you, we've had some bluefin caught out of Ensenada. Not a lot, not a lot. And then the other day out of Popotla, which is located just to the south of Rosarito Beach. So not very far at all. 40 miles below the border, not even. There was a guy out of there that fished, Cesar, and he had a fish that looked like it was about 40 pounds. So there's that smattering of bluefin tuna around. San Diego-based boats were out looking for it here about a week ago and only came up with one fish for two boats that were out looking around. So we may not be there quite yet, but it is nice to see that bluefin tuna bouncing around. That is great stuff. And again, out of Ensenada, we see the occasional bite on yellowtail there. Every once in a while, some nice grade forkies have been showing up, 18 to 25, 30 pounds even. There on the yo-yo iron, they get under the birds, you throw an iron, you can hook some fish that way. There's some big bonita, and then of course the omnipresent rockfish. That rockfish bite has been outstanding in beautiful Ensenada. Time to get you up here into the USA and talk about what's going on here. And the El Patron, just 2 more days from right now, we'll be heading to Catalina Island on these beautiful days. Just check that ocean out He's going to be heading out of Long Beach Sport Fishing. Special low price, no fuel surcharge, limited load. The El Patron out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, focusing on bass and halibut and whitefish, and just providing you with this adventure, this beautiful ocean. Maybe you'll see some whales and delphinas, some dolphin on the way over. El Patron, www.longbeachsportfishing.org, going Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're going to want to become part of that. All right, over there at Cat, some good blue perch fishing to go along with some pretty wide open white fishing in most cases, and a chance at some bass, a nice halibut, even a white sea bass. I wouldn't leave that out of the equation either. Now, not to mislead you, there has not been any spectacular catches for the sport boats over there. I do know some private boaters who have really railed on the halibut over there at Catalina Island here recently. So that is in the cards. Hopefully that's going to come together along our coast here. And for most boats, rockfish season is closed until April. So we are fishing sculpin, we're fishing whitefish, halibut, some sand bass, some calico bass. We're fishing all those species right now. And it's pretty darn good in most cases. You can also kick into that the sand dabs, where there is no limit and you can fish multiple hooks. You can drop 20 hooks, 25 hooks, load it up with those really tasty critters, the sand dabs, that is. And there's boats like the Gentleman out of Cisco's here. You've got the City of Long Beach, the Ara-Ann, that are running trips. Ara-Ann's out of Long Beach Sport Fishing. City of Long Beach has been running trips and doing really good on that. The sculpin bite's been pretty good, and there's some pretty good sand bass fishing down there out of San Diego. I know the Dolphin had 30-something sand bass the other day. It's not bad for the winter time. Those things are supposed to be pretty dormant right now, and they're biting okay. And up there on the Marina del Rey, we see some pretty good twilight fishing. They'll be at it this weekend. The Native Sun out of 22nd Street Landing. They should be out today fishing halibut. Not sure if they got enough people to go, but we'll be watching them very, very closely if they do get out. It's a gorgeous day, and hopefully that's going to come together. And they're also doing twilight fishing on the Native Sun Friday nights and Saturday nights out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. So we'll continue to monitor and watch that for you very, very closely and see how they do. On the halibut front, you're going to want to fish a little bit lighter line right now because those things, whoa, got soaked on that one because those things are not biting full speed right now. So lighter line, like 20 pound, is a really good idea. Fish that 20 pound, and that'll make all the difference in the world to you. 4 to 12 ounce torpedo sinkers, number 1 J hook, and number 6 treble hook to trap your bait with. You're going to trap the bait, use an extra treble hook in the tail of the bait, and the guys on the Native Sun or any other sport boat will let you know more about that. Whoa, those pelicans, I'm telling you. I don't know if you can see way down there, but those pelicanos are tearing it up in the surf. This is that time of the year where we get a lot of fry in the water, small barred perch. We'll see that sometimes. And then also bait, chovy, other bait fish move up on the beach. And that's when you see some really good surf fishing at times. So we'll continue to watch that. Don't forget, Hall Show, Long Beach Convention Center starts tomorrow. We'll see you there. Can't wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. And our surf fishing event, Super Bowl Sunday, right here. You're not going to want to miss that. All right, Southern California surf. And right down the street here is Big Fish Bait and Tackle on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. Man, they've got all the bait you'll need, the tackle, terminal tackle, rods, reels, everything. And not only for surf fishing, okay? Big Fish Bait and Tackle, they are your Southern California surf fishing headquarters. But man, they've got tackle that you could use on those big Baja bluefin, or if you're going marlin fishing, everything you'll need. You can get at Big Fish Bait and Tackle, including the bait that is so effective here in the wintertime. We're seeing some pretty good barred perch fishing. It is inconsistent, there is no doubt about that, but man, at times, it can be really, really good. It just depends upon conditions and, what kind of mood the fish are in. Are they in a biting mood or not? Javier Rico was out the other night and caught some barred perch and also caught a corbina, a wintertime corbina. Pretty good catch for Javier there. And Javier mentioned, it's kind of unusual to catch course, being in the wintertime. And he's absolutely right. They like the warmer water. Nice going. Javi, good catch there. And Kevin Trio. Kevin was having a pretty tough year this year, he said. It was not biting all that well in the SoCal surf for him. But man, things started to turn around. He had a nice yellowfin croaker and some barred perch, fishing a stick bait, it looks like, a jerk bait. So really, really good stuff there for Kevin. And our friend Wayne Shimabukuro was right down the street here at Bolsa Chica. And Wayne was fishing down there, picked off a couple of barred perch. It was not wide open, but he had a little bit. And you see Dave Hutton there showing off a nice BP. So hopefully that's going to get biting even better. Up to the Northern California area, man, we've seen some really good barred perch fishing up there and south of the border, down around Rosarito and further down there, Playa Socorro and areas like that around San Quintin. They've been absolutely off the hook. Colinet is another place where you can catch really good barred perch. And speaking of Punta Colinet, it is located 120 miles down below the border, and we will have San Diego-based boats going down there, catching mostly rockfish. But as we have mentioned, there's been yellowtail 20 miles to the south of it, down there in San Quintin. We see it up there around Santo Tomas, up around Ensenada. There's been a yellow taken at the Coronado Islands. So if you're going on one of those trips, I'd bring some yo-yo iron for sure. Not saying you're going to get the yellows, but they are surrounding you there at Colinet, 120 miles below the border. Hopefully, we'll see some really good fishing down there. And hey, the rock fishing, the big lings, and so much more. That has been really, really spectacular. What am I doing, man? I'm getting soaked down here this morning, but it is such a beautiful morning. It is a pleasure to get soaked with you all. Man, those pelicans are insane here today on a beautiful and pristine, gorgeous day. It is beautiful. How about that 200-plus pound bluefin tuna? That is an exceptional catch. So happy to see that happen. Man, that is really good stuff. Jose Duarte with that nice catch, and hopefully it is a signal and a sign of things to come for Baja and for Southern California. You got to think it's going to be another spectacular year. All right, my friends, we will see you tomorrow at the Hall Shows in Long Beach, California. Hopefully you'll bump into me wandering around with Mackie, and Chuck Myers will be wandering around the place. Don't forget to get your Friedman Adventures merchandise today. You'll see a little slide at the end of the show on how you can order a hat or a shirt and support the Friedman Adventures cause, man. You help us to produce more content when you do that. All right, my friends, have a great and beautiful day. We'll keep you in mind all day long. And hey, wait a minute. Let's run up here. Oh, run as much as I can run. Let's get this lukewarm coffee and let's give you one more look at a gorgeous, beautiful sunrise here in Southern California. Hope to see you tomorrow at the Hall Show in Long Beach. If not, I hope to see you here for our surf fishing event on Super Bowl Sunday. If not, I hope to see you somewhere else really, really soon. Take care, my friends.